citizens. You are officially in the incinerator. Welcome to Incense and Common Sense, the Alert Zone live stream. Before we get started, I just want to apologize to everybody. I know I said I was going to go live at 8 o'clock. I had an event come up and I had something I had to do and it kind of delayed my night. I'm sorry to everybody about that. Shout out to you, Jason Ewan, for being in here. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here. I am very, very, very sorry. All right, what's up, Andrew? What's up, Unc? What's up, nephew? I can't call it. Getting ready to do a stream here. We are definitely live. Like I said, shout out to everybody that's joining the chat. I am very, very, very sorry for this late start. I had something that came up I just needed to take care of. All right. Hope everybody is having a good night, good evening, wherever you are. We got a couple things we need to talk about. I'm going to try not to keep y'all too long tonight. Maybe try to do about a 30-minute stream or something like that. Just something to put everybody on aware and notice about what's going on in the world and how we need to move accordingly. So I'll give everybody another minute and then we'll get started. Definitely, if you're 18 years of age or older and are able to be legally armed in America, get armed, man. Get armed. Protect yourself. Protect your loved ones. For those of you, this is your first time here, let everybody know we live. Welcome to the incinerator. This is the live stream of the Alert Zone. Yeah, I hear you. Thanks to everybody from tuning in. Let me let somebody know I'm live. Give me just a minute here so we can get tonight's program started. Yeah, get the likes up. I got 3 people watching. Get the likes up. Do me a favor, everybody that comes in, hit the like button. This helps the algorithm. So let's just go ahead on and get into it tonight. And we are going to talk about some safety tips moving forward and for being on alert. We got some safety tips that I think I need to give y'all, and I wanted to do a live stream about it. It's summertime. Summer is in full swing. For those of you who don't know, in the summertime, everybody comes out. Everybody comes out. All the criminals, all the opportunists, they come out of hibernation and they're hungry. As they call them in the manosphere and other places, the hyenas, the male and the female, the hyenas are out now and they're looking. I wanted to give everybody some tips on how to stay safe and how to be aware of your surroundings, because there's a lot of things that go on in your daily life that a lot of people don't think about, and they naive to the point that is causing them to be victims. Number one of the tips you need to know when dealing with the banks, if you're going to ATM, pay attention to the surroundings of the ATM. Pay attention if you're driving up. Don't just assume because you're in the car nothing can happen to you, because remember, you're looking at that machine. You don't know who can come behind you. If you ain't carrying nothing, if you ain't legally armed, something is wrong with you. If you're able to be legally armed, then you're not. But the ATMs, when you go in banks, I want you to understand something about the bank a lot of people never think about. The bank teller knows exactly how much money you have in your accounts. The bank tellers know when you come in frequently and they know kind of about what kind of money you usually draw out of there. In Houston, but it's not limited to Houston. They have this jugging. And I'm seeing more and more videos of people going to the bank and making large withdrawals. And within 4 or 5 minutes of leaving the bank, they get their windows smashed on their cars or what have you. That's not a coincidence. People are not just sitting outside of the bank and just playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You understand what I'm saying? When you were drawing a exorbitant amount of money from most banks, they usually tell you call a couple days ahead so they can have that money ready. It is, I know you see the videos of these celebrities walking in the bank and withdrawing $1 million. In the real world, you want to withdraw 30, 40,000 out of your account cash. Usually they're going to tell you call a couple days ahead so they can have it ready. So when you come in there, they can do that transaction and it can go smoothly and things like that. It's not often that you're going to walk in and get that kind of money. So a lot of the times you have people that talk to other people that's into that. And the bank teller's telling people, yeah, so-and-so come here a lot. Another thing, if you're doing commercial business at a bank, those tote bags, when you leave the bank, you should have gas in your car. You should have something to drink and something to eat. You don't need to be stopping until you get to your place of business. I've seen already several videos of people leaving the bank and going to get gas or going to run errands, and then they get their car broken into and they get their money taken. You don't have no business doing that. You're withdrawing a specific amount of cash, and because cash don't have no name on it, take that and go where you need to go. If you're hungry, eat before you get there. Because people out here lurking every day, man. Every day they out here lurking. And they're just looking for somebody that's not paying attention that they can catch off guard. I have a rule of going in the bank. I don't let them give me envelopes. The reason I don't let the bank employees give me envelopes when I withdraw money is if you come out the bank with an envelope in your hand, most people know you got money. If you go in there with nothing in your hand and you come out with nothing, they don't know if you did a withdrawal or if you did a deposit. So they tend to leave you alone. Another thing, you have to be careful about what banks you go into. I'll tell you guys a story. There used to be a bank in New Orleans on Louisa. Was it Louisa or Louisa in St. Claude? Was it Louisa in St. Claude or Desire in St. Claude? It was a Hibernia bank right off St. Claude Avenue, down in the Ninth Ward. Everybody knew what I'm talking about if you're from New Orleans. They had to have NOPD work that bank for the amount of people that walked. All right, sorry about that. We was buffering. I went on, but to continue the story, so one day me and the service truck driver stopped to cash out a check. This was back before the direct deposit became popular. And we happened to be by that particular bank. And once we cashed our checks, we peeked out the door. We looked at each other. We didn't even have to say nothing. We took off running. And we ran to the truck and got in the service truck and we left. And when we left from there, I thought about it. That was really silly of us to go to somewhere where we know. There's been times I've been in that bank and people have gotten commercial withdrawals. And within 30 seconds of going out the bank, they come back up in there terrified because they got robbed. Because everybody know that's what went on around that bank. So that's what I mean by situational awareness. Sometimes you got to just steer clear of them type of places. Another thing I'm seeing a trend of is the young people out here that's starting to run in these packs. I saw a story of a guy out in Cleveland. I got 5 people watching. We should have 5 likes. Let's get those likes up, people. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. But nevertheless, 12:30 at night at a store, a guy was sitting at a store and 12 teens and 3 stolen cars jumped out on him in Cleveland. and start just beating this guy. I mean, they beat him almost within an inch of his life for nothing. He was just in front of the store minding his business. You got to understand, when you out that time of night at a store standing around and a bunch of teenage dudes pull up like that, and it's 12 of them, they being rowdy in a parking lot, they looking for trouble. They just walked up to him and attacked him and started beating him. It was too many of him for the fight. And the next thing you know, they pulled guns out and the car was coming up the street and they started shooting at the cars. These young boys and girls out here are getting to the point where they're becoming more and more dangerous. And around the country, I'm noticing that they're starting to get more and more legislation. I'm in the state of Iowa, Andrew. I'm in the state of Iowa. They starting to get more and more emboldened as it goes on, and they're running around attacking innocent people. As law-abiding citizens, I don't think we understand the importance of really paying attention to what's going on. I think we feel like when we're in certain parts of the city or the state or the country, we're in a safe zone. There is no such thing as safe zones anymore. As much as you want to enjoy the comfort of your own home, there's always the potential that somebody can come in your home. There's always that potential, or that you can come outside. Because as I always say, you may not see people as a threat, because you may feel like, well, I mind my business. The problem is that's the type of people criminals look for. They want the guys and the girls that just get up, put their head down, go to work, come home, and don't say nothing. Though they want soft targets. Everybody must understand that. I was just kind of thrown off a whack. I didn't have my notes with me tonight. This is kind of a couple other things I wanted to cover. As far as being legally armed out here, man. Being legally armed, you just got to understand something. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to be armed. We don't live in a perfect world. The criminals have came out. And it ain't just the young ones, it's the old ones too. Females. I want you guys to understand something. The females have gotten bold enough to start taking their show on the road. I heard of a story of an American, I believe she's an American chick in Turkey. Call herself trying to pull a smash and grab, stealing some exorbitant watches and her behind locked up. Once you leave American shores, the borders of this country, you are subject to other people's rules of law. And they watching all this on TV. When we showing up, they keeping a sharp eye out on us. The females have become the new thugs. Straight up. The females have become the new criminal class. They haven't just gotten as violent yet, but they're working towards it. It's just they taking steps. They've gone from getting the trigger pulled on people, now they're starting to pull it. And other females are starting to see this. And they're starting to see this for the threat that it is. Shout out to the 7 people that's in the chat. Get the likes up. Yeah, we had number 4. Let's get the likes up. I definitely want to say again, I appreciate everybody that joined in. I know I was supposed to go on at 8 o'clock. Something happened and I didn't get an opportunity to do that. So I just wanted to go ahead on and just apologize again. But I thank y'all for tuning in. Another thing is, don't let nobody shame you into protecting yourself. Don't let nobody make you feel like you're less than. If you're a young man out there, Don't let nobody tell you, man, what you need a gun for. Man, only sissies need guns. Only cowards need guns. When somebody break up in your house, that's what you need one for. When these dudes run up on you and rob you and you give them everything and put your hands up and still get shot, that's what you need one for. A lot of criminals don't fear anything happening to them running up on law-abiding citizens. That's why they constantly do it. They have no fear. As a law-abiding citizen, I'm going to say this. I never advocate violence. I don't advocate that we go out there looking for a gunfight. I advocate that we go out there and be prepared. What's going on? Yeah, they ain't letting you walk away after they rob you no more. The whole thing of, let me take your valuables and let you go, that's over with. That's over with. Now they robbing you, and the thought is to kill you. And it ain't for a lack of trying. I can tell you that. People who've been surviving, it ain't been from a lack of trying. Brother Malcolm once said something. He said, guard your life. It's the only thing you got. It's the most valuable thing you got. Don't just lay down your life for nothing. If you got to give your life up, let it be an even Steven. And I say that. If we was living in the days where dudes would just rob you and let you go, if chicks would get you robbed and just that would be that. We living in a day now where you can give them whatever they want and they'll still kill you. Or they'll keep coming back. Around the country, they're getting laws together to go after young people. And let me explain something to you. This is across all ethnic and racial lines. Law-abiding citizens are getting tired of this foolishness out here. We're getting tired. People are getting tired that they have to spend money to go on the other side of town because you guys have broken into everything around here to the point that everything is closed. People are getting tired of the fact that now if they want to go in the store, they got to get an employee to get everything in the store and put it in the basket for them because everything locked up. People are tired of the fact that they call themselves going into the upscale neighborhood to shop so they don't have to deal with this foolishness and then it shows up. It's rough out here, man. It's only gonna get worse. It's really, really rough out here. You can't leave your life in the hands of criminals. You know, shout out to the president of Gun Freak Nation. He always talk about people being hyped up on drugs. When I was young, I remember crack, weed, cocaine, maybe heroin was the drugs of choice for most people. This prescription stuff, all this other stuff wasn't really around like that. Now these guys and girls are taking these drugs that's sexually stimulating them. Besides their sadistic sexual preference, a lot of these guys and girls out here taking drugs that have sexual stimulants in them. So he's hyped up off ecstasy and Molly or whatever the hell else they call that. He's rocked up and he's breaking in the house with a woman he's been watching for the last month. You know, everybody say what they wouldn't do until it happened to them. All the women say that motherfucker will have to kill me before he ever stick anything in my mouth. And when that door fly open, that's the very first thing she do is get on her knees. A lot of dudes say if a dude pull a gun out on me, I'm going to make him use it. And when they get the gun pulled out on them, they put their hands up in there. The only way you're going to stop these crimes is you got to prevent them from happening in the first place. There has to be a penalty. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's going to have to be an extreme penalty. These revolving doors that some of these jailhouses and courthouses have, you're constantly seeing dudes. It's the same dudes committing the same crimes. Dudes out on bond for 2 or 3 shootings already, and then go kill 10 people, or goes and shoots somebody. That's what's going on in the world right now. Are we up to 10 people in the chat? Let's get them likes up to 10. Come on, we can do it. Hit the like button. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. All you're doing is boosting the algorithm. Maybe somebody you know might need to hear this. You might know it, or you may agree with it, or you may not agree with it. You may hear it a lot. We have to keep repeating these things until y'all get it to y'all head. You may not be out looking for problems, but that don't mean other people's not. And I'm just telling y'all, I always speak from experience because I was one of the few people that had the chance to be around all that stuff. I know how this stuff works. I know what it used to be, and I know what it is now. It used to be you didn't do certain things. For all y'all older dudes who are angry about how wild these young dudes are, well, what do you expect? There ain't no men around. We've become a culture of, we run men in the ground so bad in this country that nobody feel like they have to listen to men. How can you have a code when the perpetrators don't know what code enforcement is? As I say, back in the days, because you hear this from older dudes and chicks all the time, some of this stuff you see out here you wouldn't never see. A lot of this stuff you see now you wouldn't have never seen. Innocent people didn't get shot. And if they did, the streets put a bounty out. And like that, they was giving you up. Hey man, you broke the rule. When dudes would beef with each other, they would go to this dude neighborhood and say, no, we want that particular guy. Why would I attack his brother? His brother not even into that type of lifestyle. His cousin don't even live here. The guy is just visiting. Why would I go attack his cousin? You know, one of the saddest things I ever heard was that kid, Tyshawn Lee out in Chicago. How they wanted his dad so bad that they lured that little boy into the alley and executed that little boy. I think he was like 9 years old. And fucking executed him. You right. It's that Nelt 18. Ain't no more street codes no more, man. We got cowards putting cowards on. We got guys that's not really into this lifestyle that's paying to get in. The internet has, not only the internet, but it has helped. It's painted a false picture to children. See, gangster life is glorious until it's time to pay the piper. You know, I did a video in response to the Riverside County Sheriff when he talked about the old gangsters, how they didn't shoot at the police and how if they got caught, they just went ahead on and did their time or what have you. But you know what happened? Them false imprisonments. The country going in a different direction about different things. Then let me go ahead. I was going to do this in a different stream, but I might as well go ahead on and talk about it since we talking about street codes. The worst street code that was ever broken, and it still is broken to this day, is forcing people that's not about that life to join. Telling these little young boys and girls that you're going to join this no matter what. Yep. You're right about that. Ain't no guns in jail. But I've always been the type of person that says, if this guy is not built like that, why are you going to force him? Because he was born in this apartment complex, you're going to make him join that gang? You're going to make him run with the crew? Even though you know he is not built like that, she is not built like that, and then you get angry when they get up there and tell? You can't force people to do something that they don't want to do. You can't force these guys and tell these guys you're going to do this and that's all it is to it. Because then you got to pay the price for that. And then the first thing you want to do is jump up on social media and call everybody a snitch. 10 twins, 10 wins. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the incinerator. This is the live streams of the Alert Zone. The incinerator is what we call it. Incense and Common Sense live stream. The incinerator is what we call the chat room here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as you come in, hit the thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up. We are 12 people. I said I was going to do a 30-minute video, but I guess I'll keep on talking. Just try and put things out there. Because I want to say something. Dudes and chicks that's into certain elements of the street life, I'm not going to run them in the ground. As crazy as it may sound, dudes that's out here slinging, chicks that's out here slinging, where I may not say that that's what they should be doing, I kind of understand to an extent. Well, I used to understand to an extent. I mean, like now, you know, you got fentanyl and everything now. I mean, they killing their customers. I don't even want to get into all that, but the code is gone, and this is the end result. I always say, the only thing worse than a gangster is a gangster wannabe. The wannabes are the ones you gotta watch, because they'll kill you faster than the gangster will. We in America have placed caricatures for everything that don't fit. So let me go ahead on and go into this, because I wanted to mention this too. Serial killers. The media and society has put a face in a caricature of what a serial killer should look like and act like. But it don't work like that in the real world. Ted Bundy couldn't have never got away with what he got away with if he looked like the image of the monsters that society paints. He committed monstrously acts. But how do you think he was able to get away with that for so long? The BTK killer, Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was one of the most soft-spoken dudes probably ever to walk the face of the earth. And he was a stone savage. Stone killer. For those of you who know about the story about Ariel Castro, out there in Cleveland, had them girls captive for all them years. He had a normal life. You never would have looked at that guy and guessed that that guy was about that. The dudes with all this shit tattooed all in their face. Some of these guys, I see them, they got teardrops down here and ain't never shot nobody. And I'm not advocating for that, I'm just saying. They got all this shit all over their face. You see them, and everybody think that's the killer. The one that everybody think is the quiet one, that don't get into nothing, be the one killing everybody. Because we have been taught that hiding in plain sight. You're right about that. We've been taught that the most dangerous people should look like this. And yet when they get caught, they never fit the profile. Ask yourself that. John Wayne Gacy killed, they found, 34, 35 bodies buried at his house? And yet you wouldn't have never, to see the guy, never guessed that he was like that. I can go on and on and on and on about all these killers. How they never seem to fit the bill of what everybody's looking for. They just soft-spoken, yes sir, no sir. Yet this bastard then gutted in everybody in the damn neighborhood. My point is, at the end of the day, the dudes who really into that street stuff like that, they don't advertise like that. They're not walking around here going into stores and doing all this kind of craziness to show everybody. The dudes who really about their life staying low key, because they understand the whole thing about it is to be on the outside. They understand what's good for business and what's not. Here where I live in Iowa, I see something, I don't say nothing about it, but I see it, and in the back of my mind I think about it. There's a lot of people here that came from California, the LA area to be exact, most of them. A lot of them came here when they was babies or when they was real young. 3/4 of their life been right here in small town Iowa. And the minute they become 18, 19 years old, they got these LA tattoos on them. They running around screaming N-word this, N-word that. They pretended like there's something they're not because they was born in LA. And then when they go out there and people that's really about their life from LA approach them, they don't know what to say. When you ask them, where you from? Oh, I'm from LA. No, where? When they start checking paperwork out on the street, their paperwork come back dirty. But something else about that really bothers me. Small town kids from small town America is fascinated by this. And they see these guys as being cool because they was born in a particular place. He came here when he was 5 and you was born here. Now y'all 20. More than half of his life is spent in small town Iowa just like you. He doesn't know no more about where he come from than you do. This is how that foolishness shows up in small town America. Because these small town kids, these rural kids, these farm kids, they've seen all this foolishness all over TV and the internet, and they think that that's cool. And this is how you wind up coming to some places where the only thing you can think about is cows, chickens, horses, farms, and corn, and here they up there shooting up the place. Most people hear Omaha, Nebraska, and the only thing come to their mind is corn. Cornfields, children of the corn. You go to Omaha and boy, it's like the wild, wild fucking West over there. I think the movie Belly gave most people their first look into what Omaha, Nebraska really is like. The first time I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, hell, I was thinking about cowboys, Indians, and horses. And here we had a modern day Bonnie and Clyde in 2003, robbing all the getting goes in Tulsa, Oklahoma, driving an old Camaro, robbing all the damn getting goes in town. If you live in a peaceful life, if your children is living a peaceful life, tell them that that's okay. Tell them living, making money, not going to prison, not worried about getting their head blowed off because they're friends with somebody, that's cool. Every time you make a penny, you're looking over your shoulder. Every time you get up in the morning, you got to peek out of the door. You live in a city, that's the place to be, but you can't go with the 3-block radius because if you leave outside of that, you might lose your life. That's not cool. It looks cool on TV. It looks fun, but that shit ain't cool. A lot of these guys and girls that's in those type of lifestyles will tell you, I wish I'd had it where I grew up somewhere where it was quiet. Like I said, man, suburb play, yep, them fake suburban gangsters, they're more dangerous. They'll pull a gun out on you and shoot you because they want to prove to everybody else they something they not. Those are the worst ones. The bango wannabes. The guys who pretend to walk the walk and they talk the talk. And then the curtain come down on them. And the first thing they doing is screaming and hollering, come get me out of here. But the same thing that's got to be said for them, because they had the advocates, is for us, the law-abiding citizens. Don't ever think you somewhere where you're not vulnerable. Don't ever think you going somewhere where somebody can't come and air the place out and get to you. It's touched. I don't know a lot about Chicago, but that Gold Coast out here, that Gold Coast is, or the Magnificent Mile or whatever they call it, where all these upscale shopping and all that's supposed to be, they've been experiencing it. I tell you all about these upscale areas in the LA area, Santa Monica and then Beverly Hills and Hollywood and all that. Everywhere around the country, this stuff is starting to show its head. And the very first thing the victim says, but that don't happen here. Yeah, you hear stories about that on the news, but as people scramble around for cheaper places to live, understand what I'm telling you. Everybody that's showing up in your neighborhood ain't showing up because they want a better life. They just want somewhere that is cheaper to live. But they haven't divested from the streets. Me, personally, I can say when I got up here from New Orleans, there was a lot I had to get used to up here. There was a lot I had to detox from. Because life was different. You got a lot of these dudes come around in these small towns and the first thing coming to their mind, well, I'm going to come up here and find out what they're selling and I'm going to take it over. And then folks taking you right into the jailhouse. Prison and the graveyard is open 365, 24/7, 366 on a leap year. They open on weekends and holidays too. Don't worry about the snow. A blizzard won't close them. A flood won't close them. Extreme heat won't close them. They open all the time. The mortuary always say business is good. The prisons tell you welcome home. We look forward to your next 50, 100 year stay here. The only problem with the graveyard is too many law-abiding citizens is volunteering to go early. To my religious people, I'm always going to be on y'all. Faith without works ain't going to get it. Remember? The Mother Emanuel massacre. They was on their knees praying while Dylan Roof was blowing their heads off. In Sutherland, Texas, they was in there praising the Lord, and you had a savage come in there and air the place out. But when the next one tried it, the congregation was ready and they sent them to hell. Don't ever let nobody, ever let nobody make you feel ashamed for protecting yourself. As I say here, we don't promote violence. We don't. But we don't promote you being a victim of it either. The only way we're going to stop all this senseless killing that's going on out here is have some deterrence. Sending them to prison afterwards is one thing. How about we get it to where nobody goes to prison and nobody goes to the graveyard? Because they're too afraid to take the chance on that. People have gotten emboldened out here. As you see a lot of businesses folding up and closing, people are going to get hungry. Don't think they won't break up in your house to take your bread to give to their children. Because the one thing parents don't believe in is letting their children starve. It's summertime. It's been the hottest summer on record. Hell has broken loose. All the criminals then came out of hiding. And nobody is immune. In closing, I'm going to say this. Smith & Wesson, Glock, Ruger, FN, Staccato, Koenig, Taurus, Colt, Daniel Defense, Kalashnikov, Mossberg, Bushmaster, Aero Precision, and everybody else make the tools daily that you need to protect yourself. And they're spending millions of dollars a year to be able to give you access to them through fighting the legal courts. Take advantage of what I just said. Get legally armed out there. So what's going on, Luck? Shoot, there's more people joining in. Y'all gonna make me want to keep talking. Said I was gonna do a 30-minute stream. We almost at 45 minutes. But as I was saying, ain't nothing much, man. Just out here trying to keep the community safe out here. Yeah, see? You know, Barack Obama, for whatever I can say about him, the motherfucker had enough nerve to say, enough sense to say, in the Bible Belt, they clutching their Bibles in one hand and their guns in the other. I'm all for that. I'm all for that religious talk. Your Bible in one hand and whatever gun you prefer in the other hand. I'm for that. For all my religious people out here that have faith without works, get out of here with that. Don't keep telling me to pray on it. You telling me to pray so I can become pray. No. Yeah, I'm going to pray on it. Okay. I'm going to be praying that I don't miss. It's the only prayer I'm going to be having. That I don't miss. That I'm able to get the first shot off and end this quickly. That I can protect my loved ones. I can't keep praying that people don't come and bother me because I don't go out looking for trouble. Most people in this country don't go out looking for trouble. And yet it's the ones that's not looking for trouble that's always praying that nothing don't happen to them. You doing right. You going to work. You living righteous. What the hell you keep praying that nothing don't happen to you? If you're going to pray with an empty hand, don't pray. My way of praying is praying with your peace in there between your hands. Now, I understand this message is not for everybody. I get that. Everybody don't believe in it. If you come from the hood, think about this. The candy lady that gives everybody the best deals. She give you better deals on the Zuzus and Wham Whams than the corner store do. And somebody winds up breaking in her house and killing her. What about that? That lady looks out for the neighborhood and loses her life. You know, we had an incident that happened in New Orleans when I was a young man, and it was really, really sad. Right on the intersection of Valence and Magnolia, right in that area. There was a little war going on. And a lady had got approved for another house. And a couple days before she was supposed to move to her new house, she was coming home from church. And they mistaken the car she was riding in, because a church member was dropping her off from being some rival people, and they opened fire and shot that woman in her head and killed her. And she had found her somewhere to live because she wanted to get out of that neighborhood. Don't think that that can't happen to you. And this was one of those religious women. And even with her trying to do the right thing, look what happened. A lot of us out there still have our parents. How you gonna feel if this happened to your mom that doesn't go out and do that kind of stuff? What about your dad? Mr. Jordan in the neighborhood, when he come home from his job, he help everybody around the neighborhood fix on their car, do something that they need, and he don't ask them for nothing. And he tell them just pass the favor on. What's going to happen when he's going to work one morning and one of these chumps out here, or these chumpettes, do something to cause his demise? It's rough out here. It's rough out here. I'm seeing stories of people getting fed up, and people getting more and more fed up. Rebecca, what's going on? What's up, chick? As we used to say in New Orleans, what's up, chick? Everybody say shout out to Rebecca. She spent her 60th birthday in the chat room, in the incinerator. Yeah. You know what? Good luck. I try and give instances of things that happen just because I know what's out there. And I've seen all this. I wish I didn't, but I have. I've seen it. I've seen people just get up and go to work every day and mind their business. And because they went and brought themselves just a nice pair of tennis shoes, it cost them their life. I'm 43. If I live another month, I'll be 44. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys know something about New Orleans that maybe you guys may not know. Back in the 80s, when Michael Jordan tennis shoes, I think it was the second or the third pair, got really popular, they were literally killing in New Orleans behind those tennis shoes. Thank you. Thank you for saying I look 10 years younger. But they were killing behind Jordan. I mean, literally, they was killing children. I think the saddest case, I think the case that kind of like brought the city to its knees was there's an intersection called Broad and Banks. There's a store right there. Sell them for, we call them loaves. You know, if y'all ever heard of the term po' boy, that's a sandwich on French bread. You have the regular size, you have a halves, and then you have what's the loaves. And this kid was coming home from school, and dude walked up on him. And the way they used to do it back in New Orleans in the days was they would call us Lil Daddy. Man, Lil Daddy, what size shoe you wear? And dudes would say, oh, I wear so-and-so. And they tell them, they up the gun and tell them, you got to take them off and give them here. Well, this little young boy got robbed out of his shoes. He gave his shoes. Dude told him, turn around and walk away. If you turn around, I'm going to kill you. That kid turned around and walked away, and he shot that kid in the back of his head. I don't think that kid was probably 12 or 13. He was a little bit older than me. Yep, you just turned 44 yesterday. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Everybody say happy birthday to Jason. I appreciate you stopping by in the incinerator. But yeah, that happened, man. That happened. The starter jackets in New Orleans, it got to a point where the school boards was telling the kids you couldn't wear starter jackets to school because you might go home without a jacket if you go home. I remember all that. Yeah. Those young, if you ever from New Orleans and you hear this, if you one of these young people, you guys don't know how many people lost their lives or lost their shoes for the privilege of you wearing Michael Jordans and not getting robbed now. They was killing behind them. Literally. It didn't matter if you had an infant child, they would jack them off their feet right in front of you and say, oh, my baby need these. I'm telling you, boy, I saw it. I saw it. I watched what it was, and I watched what it evolved to. Yeah. 45. Yeah, we in our 40s. Even as young dudes, a lot of us still had a lot of understanding. Sometimes I know we like to blame it on people's age, but for those of us who made it to our 40s, a lot of us didn't go to prison. A lot of us understood right from wrong. A lot of us didn't let our age stop our responsibility of getting up and going and get our money. I've never, ever hated on a person that got up every day and went to work and made their money. I remember I used to have this classmate when I was in high school. And she used to be jewelried up and what have you. But she worked at Winn-Dixie, which was a grocery store chain in New Orleans. She got her money legally. She went to school and she was very involved in classes. And when she got off, she went to her job. She worked for that. And I'm never, ever going to tell a working person that something is wrong with them treating themselves because they work for that. If we can pat the dope boys on their back for riding big wheels and fancy cars and all that, you can pat a hardworking person on their back for buying themselves a nice outfit. We, the law-abiding citizens, have to get to a point where we're okay with seeing other hardworking people have something. We got to get back to that. Because we've gotten to a point where a person works hard and buys them something, and the very first thing somebody do is have something slick to say about it. Oh, look at him. He think he ain't shit because he got a new car. But he worked for it. He hasn't mistreated you or said anything. He just pulled up in front of his house and you're talking about him like a doll. She just pulled up in front of her house and you talking about her like a doll. She worked for that. And I don't give a damn if they got it during income tax time. That's their money. They worked for that. The criminals pat each other on the back. Damn, dude, you iced out. Damn, dude, you got a nice whip. Damn, dude, you got a nice crib. We, the law-abiding citizens, gonna have to do that. You right about that. You right about that. What's that? Bop. Bop, bop. We help perpetuate some of this stuff that goes on out here. And I'm talking about the law-abiding citizens. Because once we show out this thing that somebody went and bought something they worked for, we telling the criminals around us, oh yeah, well, he's angry that this guy went and got a new car, so if we go and jack him, he ain't gonna say nothing, because he already said how literally dude just pulled up off the lot and how he's already talking about him like the dog. Guy ain't said hello to nobody yet. So he won't mind if I run up and take this dude's car. We got to get away from that. This stupid statement that, well, if you got 3 cars, I don't care. You can't drive but one at a time. This person worked hard for it. As long as you can afford it, I say enjoy. Shit, you only live once. Because guess what? The people you leave it to, they going to dog it out. Leave it to your fucking children. You almost spend that money, they going to run through it. They going to run through it doing bullshit. At the end of the day, I'm just going to say this and I'm going to wrap this up. There is nothing wrong with being a law-abiding citizen and protecting yourself. If people wasn't out there victimizing law-abiding citizens, I wouldn't even be making content like that. I can make this content because I can prove to y'all what I'm talking about. If people wasn't victimizing law-abiding citizens, you would only hear me talking about this, what kind of guns I like. Just probably seeing shooting videos. I talk about people victimizing law-abiding citizens because that's what the hell they out there damn doing. I'm not making it up. If these people out here stuck to the code, they wouldn't be coming after law-abiding citizens. Because the real gangsters will be telling me, hey man, them dudes don't get it, leave them alone. Hey man, that lady, don't leave that lady alone. They will make sure those people were straighter than anybody they was running with. But they turn in a blind eye. Everybody's a victim now. Don't think it can't happen to you. All right, I've been on for an hour, everybody. Hit me in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you like what you hear, definitely share it. I appreciate everybody that came through. Jason, Bop, Rebecca, The Luck. Anybody I forgot that came through in the chat, I'm sorry. But I appreciate all of y'all for coming in and tuning in late to a late started edition of the Incense and Common Sense live stream. Definitely give the video a like. Protect yourself, family. Don't let nobody shame you. Till next time, everybody out there, stay safe. All right, shout out to you too, Neld 18. Shout out to you. Till next time, everybody out there, stay safe, stay on high alert, and we out.